Hello, in this video, let us learn the lambda function, which is widely used in Python for data science. This function is an anonymous function and it can be passed as argument to other functions. The syntax for the lambda function is lambda argument colon condition expression. For example, fun is equal to lambda x colon x percentage 2 double equal 0. So here the keyword lambda indicates that it is a lambda function and this x indicates argument or parameters, and this one x percentage 2 will divide the value x by 2 and the remainder is checked with 0. If the remainder is 0, then it is an even number. This lambda function is assigned to function, so this fun is acting as function and the argument to be passed to this function is x. So you call fun, which in turn will call lambda. So you are passing 2, so x is 2. So 2 percentage 2, that means the remainder is 0. So this is true. So true will be returned by the function fun of 2. So when you print the returned value, it will be true. Similarly, if you pass 3, this 3 is nothing but x for the lambda function. So 3 percentage 2, the remainder is 1. So it is not equal to 0. So it will return false. So fun of 3 will return false. So the output of this will be false. Now let us see a lambda function with three arguments or parameters. Here a comma b comma c colon a plus b plus c. So this lambda function is assigned to x and you can pass three arguments to this x. So x of 5 comma 6 comma 2. That means the first value 5 will go to a, 6 will go to b and 2 will go to c. So a plus b plus c will be computed. That means 5 plus 6 plus 2 and that will be returned by the function x now. So this is 13. So print x of 5 comma 6 comma 2 will give output 13. In the previous cases, the parameter provided in the lambda function was the argument to the function in the left side. Now you can define a function and return a lambda function to another function. That means you can pass lambda function as an argument to other function. For example, define my function of n. Return lambda a colon a star n. Here, my function is the function name. This is the parameter or argument. And this is the keyword for defining the function. And this function returns a lambda function. And for this lambda function, the argument is a. But this n is argument for my function. Now, if you pass any value to my function, for example, here my function of 2, that means this 2 is n. So the 10 is here. So here you will have 2. So lambda a colon a star 2 is the lambda function that will be returned by this my function. So that will be assigned to my doubler function. So this my doubler function will have n value is equal to 2. At the same time, it allows to pass the value a. It requires a. Now, if you call my doubler with 11, then this value is a. N is already 2. So 11 into 2, 22. That will be returned by this my doubler function. So if you print that, you will have 22. The lambda function can be passed as an argument for some built-in functions like filter, map, etc. So here, this is the filter function. Lambda function is passed as an argument along with an iterable data like list as another argument. So this lambda function will be operated on this list 1. It will take the elements of the list one by one and it will apply the lambda function to that element and returns an iterable if the condition is true. Iterable means it will have index and value. For example, in the case of list, you have index 0, 1, 2 like that, and this 15, 9, 24 are values. Now in this case, from the list 1, the first element will be taken 15. So 15 percentage 2, that means it will find out the remainder. Here remainder is 1. That will be checked against 0. So it is not true. So this will not be considered. Now the second element is taken. Here also the remainder is 1. So it is not true. So this will be filtered out. And next 24 is taken from the list. 24, the remainder is 0, so it is true. So this lambda function will return true for this element. In turn, the filter function will return the index and the value. Similarly, for 38, the remainder is 0, so this will also be returned. And for 16 also, remainder is 0, so this will be returned. But for 11, it will not be returned. So 71 will not be returned. For 90, the index and value will be returned. So finally, we will have 24, 38, 16, 90, these values and index. Now, if you convert these iterables using the list function, all these things will be converted to list. So you will have finally a list with values 24, 38, 16 and 90. So actually this function filters out the odd number and provided the required even numbers from the list. The lambda function can also be used along with the built-in function map. So here lambda function is passed as an argument and an iterable is also passed as an argument. So the element from the iterable, that is list, will be passed to the lambda function one by one like this. First one will be passed. So here 1 into 1 into 1 cube will be computed and that will be returned by the map function. Then 2 will be taken, its cube will be computed and that will be returned by the map function with the index and value. Similarly, all the elements from the list will be taken one by one and they will be mapped to their cube values and it will be returned. Finally, that will be converted to list. So the result will contain 1 cube, that is 1, then 2 cube 8, 3 cube 27, 64, 5 cube is 125 and we have converted those iterables to list and that is assigned to list 2. So if you print, then the output will be like this. In the same way, map can be used here to add 2 to each number in the list. So from this list, 1 is taken, 2 is added, and that is returned as 3. So 2 plus 2, 4, 3 plus 2, 5 like that. See, the main difference between filter and map is in the case of filter, the values are not altered. It is only filtering the values from the original list. But in the case of map, each element is mapped to another different value based on the statement given in the lambda function. But in both cases, that is filter function or map function, will return iterable based on the argument passed. The next one is reduce function. This reduce function is available in the func tools package. So we have to import the reduce function from func tools package. Now this is the list. We are using the reduce function and we are passing the lambda function as an argument and the list as another argument. In this case, the lambda function has two arguments. At the beginning, the first value from the list will go to x and the second value will go to y. So this is 20, this is 13. Both will be added and that will be assigned to x. Then the third value will come to y. So x is already having 20 plus 13. Now you will have plus 4. Then the fourth value will also come to y, that is 8. So x is already having 20 plus 13 plus 4. So now 8 is also added. Then 9 is going to y. So 9 is also added and the result will be available in the x that will be returned by the reduce function and that value will be assigned to add. Now, if you print this add, you will have the sum of these values, that is 54. 20 plus 13 plus 4 plus 8 plus 9 is 54. So this reduce function reduces the list to a single element. This example takes the prime numbers from 2 to 20. So if you put range 2 comma 20, it will start from 2, 3, 4 up to 19. So these numbers are checked whether a particular number is prime or not. Here, along with the lambda function, all is used. So all will check the complete range of this B. B in range 2 comma A. For example, if A is 4, it will check 2 comma 3. So B will be 2 comma 3. Now it checks A remainder B not equal to 0. If the remainder is not 0, it is a prime number. For example, let us take the value 4. So A is 4. So here B will have values 2 comma 3. First it will apply 2 here. So 2. So 4 percentage 2, that is remainder is 0. So it is not a prime number. If you take 5, then this A will be 5. So this range will provide 2, 3, 4. So this A will be 5. First it will be divided by 2. There is a remainder. That means it is not equal to 0. Then it will be divided by 3. Again you will get remainder not equal to 0. Divide it by 4. Again the remainder is not 0. So after dividing this 5 by all these numbers, you are not getting 0. So 5 is a prime number. Similarly, you can check for all other numbers. So this all will apply this condition to all values in B. This is a range of numbers. For each number, this condition will be applied. So this lambda function will finally return only the prime numbers.